Hi guys, my name is Dante. Let's read some comments. So yeah, I thought haven't done one of these for a while, so let's do that. But before we start, an announcement. I finally got to set up my merch store. I decided to start with Yellow Terror. I think I mentioned this in the previous episode, so this thing is now available to actually order in all kinds of formats, in a perfect resolution and everything, so feel free to order this if you want to. And also, I decided that this is probably not the best version of this character to actually use as a t-shirt print or anything like that. So what I actually been doing lately is this. So I made a vector version of the Yellow Terror Aggie from the back. The Yellow Terror is a very important character on this channel, just because back in the day when I barely had any subscribers at all, like less than 2,000, the episode that I made painting this guy actually drew so much attention to the channel, like comparing to what I used to have at all. It kinda went a little bit viral back then, and it was so cool that people actually watched. Like, this was an episode where I created an original character, not some fan art or something, and it actually kind of blew up a little bit, and it was so inspiring and awesome that people actually found my character interesting. I decided to make a really good vector kind of artwork, so it would look really good printed on a t-shirt or on paper as some kind of poster or a lot of other stuff. Usually vector kind of flat style works much better as a print, so I think I'm gonna be doing this kind of stuff in the future as well, to do a tribute to the most epic artwork there is on the channel, and maybe some of the just, you know, channel related meme kind of stuff, I don't know. So yeah, if you're interested in one of these versions of the vector Yellow Terror, feel free to visit the store in the description, or I think I am able to make a link somewhere in the video as well. So there's that. Let's move on to the comments. Really waiting for your iPad Pro very personal artist review. Yeah, this stuff, I think it goes without saying at this point. It's been 2 months since the previous reading comments video, so right now I make every episode using my iPad Pro 2nd generation. In the beginning I had quite a problem with the fact that I can't see the cursor before I touch the screen, but I gotta say, after a while I kind of adjusted to it. Like, it starts to actually work. I think the main part that helped me is choosing the proper software. Art Studio Pro has a very good brush engine that works just like in Photoshop, which is really important with the whole double opacity control. But also what I only noticed after about a month of constant work in Art Studio Pro, then I switched to Procreate to just try it out for a little while. And I noticed the main problem I had comparing to Art Studio Pro is that the brush cursor is very thin and barely noticeable. I'm talking about the cursor that appears during the stroke. When it appears in Procreate, it's just barely visible, like it's a 1 pixel, very tiny line, and it like flickers, barely noticeable. Like in most cases, the stroke itself is much higher contrast than the cursor. And in Art Studio Pro, it's really like it's constantly in your eyesight. You can see really well what size of the brush you're working with. Even though there are a few raw moments, it's still like so much usable to me. It really made the whole iPad Pro work for me better than the desktop at all. I only paint on this thing. Commissions, personal work, or for the episodes, which is so cool. Like, wherever I am, I just take this thing out of my backpack and I can work the same way I would work sitting here at my main workplace. How cool is that? So yeah, this is like a huge deal to me that I managed to make iPad work as my main art tool, considering how mobile it is and everything. And yeah, the new cover with the special place for the pencil is a very good addition to it. Is Bernard a good camera worker? Well, for now, he's a good pine worker. And this is a glowing stick. Check out my Instagram highlights if you're wondering what this is. How did you remove the floating action from the tablet? I tried but couldn't. This is a comment about the previous tablet I had, the Android Samsung Galaxy Tab S3. Right now Nadia is using it as her mobile tablet, which she loves, by the way. It's a pretty good alternative generally, but you really need to find your piece of software in there as well. On Android it's slightly harder. But yeah, the floating action, this is about the Samsung bloatware. When you have a stylus and you press a button, there's a side button on that stylus. But the only thing it does, it makes the whole screen blurry, and there's like an animation of a stupid, unnecessary menu appearing with some shortcuts you can create that nobody needs. There's an app, it's not free, but it's really good. Something like BK whatever, I'll show it right here. This software allows you to literally disable all the bloatware by Samsung. You can't go and just disable everything you want. They can lock some certain things as system apps, so you can't turn them off. And with this app, you can actually turn off everything you don't need. There's a lot of stupid stuff by Samsung in their devices, and one of them is called something like Air Access, whatever. That thing is exactly what happens when you press the side button on the stylus. You just turn it off, and this button is free to use in any of the apps. So yeah, just install that app and remove that stupid thing and just use the side button for all kinds of stuff. Really cool. Brother Boro, sorry, but nickname is so cute to not use it. Brother Boro. Yeah, many people liked it in the comments. Brother Boro. I like it, but I don't know what to do about it. I think that the concept of cutting the sugars is a good one. Oh yeah, I was talking a lot about the whole not eating sugar and everything in the previous episode. But I think it's good to expand that argument because it's fairly intriguing. Because as you said, the sugar is practically a drug for our brain, but the problem is with refined sugars, like the one in the soda. Yeah, of course, I eat fruit. I don't remember if I mentioned it or not. Eating fruit is totally cool. Pretty much sugar that appears naturally in nature. Fruits, vegetables, eat all of that as much as you want, but yeah, when sugar is added separately, the problem with that is that any product that has added sugar, it never has added fibers. And in nature, whenever there's something sweet, it's always with fiber. And the thing about fiber is that when you consume sugar with it, the fiber makes it so your body can only consume that sugar very slowly, which is really important. Pure refined sugar blows up in your body so quickly, like the moment you eat it, you immediately feel this rush from the sugar. That's because no fiber is stopping it from being absorbed by your body immediately. So you become like literally sugar high, or whatever it's called, sugar rush, right? And then in 40 minutes or so, you become super down and depressed and everything, and you can't do anything, and you want to eat again. So that's the problem. It messes up your appetite and mood and a lot of stuff. I got really addicted to your videos and found myself in your 2015 videos. Then I got curious, what's your oldest piece of art you have? Oh, my oldest piece of art. That may go too far in the past. That's been a while ago. Yeah, let me actually just show you. So, this is about what I've been painting when? There's a lot of 3D stuff in here as well. This is my old MP3 player. Yeah, like all kinds of skill. Another 3D. Oh, there you go, 2005. That seems like a real year. So yeah, this is about 13 years ago. I constantly had this very obsessive idea to create like a cartoonish TV show or something, but everything usually died at the creation of a character because it was kind of too hard for me to figure out. But I mean, I made the character, even made the kind of like skeletal animation rig, but then I couldn't continue pretty much because storytelling is hard when you don't want to actually write down a script. So yeah, there is a whole bunch of stuff pretty much very close to what you guys sent to me for Overpaint a lot. You see, I constantly had just line art everywhere, not a lot of line-less artwork. I remember there was a time when I made myself stop using any lines in my artwork. Like, I just decided a sketch is never a finished painting, no matter how much color I put in it. I have to get rid of the lines, only then it's a finalized picture. So it was a pretty heavy thing to give up. Yeah, I had a lot of dark stuff, by the way. What is happening here? I remember this evolved very randomly, like I just drew a guy first, then the horse, and then all of this was added behind. Oh, this was actually kind of an illustration for a book. Probably something Ghost in the Shell inspired. Spider-Girl. I think I was planning to draw Spider-Man, but everyone kept telling me that this looks like boobs, so I had to call him a Spider-Girl. Another character attempt. Voodoo doll that I made a challenge about with GD Quest recently. I don't know, Pinocchio something? What? Sometimes it's like I couldn't even explain why I drew this the moment I drew this. No idea, like there was just a blind search. Yeah, this is as far as it went. Oh yeah, his name was Zap. How cool is that? Who wouldn't want to watch that? Oh my god, so much stuff that you guys send me for Overpaint is just like this. This was actually for some high school project, by the way. Someone actually asked me to draw this as an avatar. Oh, these guys turned out pretty popular back then, I remember. It would be kind of cool to make an Overpaint of this. What do you guys think? Awesome dudes. Ooh, edgy. I actually almost like it, you know, as this. I don't know. I remember this guy was actually my very first drawing I made when I switched to Photoshop. Because actually most of the paintings I did before, like this stuff, this whole thing, this and this as well probably, was actually done in Painter. I was mostly drawing in Corel Painter in the beginning. Oh god, what was this about? I don't remember. I think I dropped it because I was constantly thinking then, oh yeah, I'll figure out what this is about during the process. But then it went on, and I realized that, yeah, I have no idea what's going on. So I just had to drop it. But I like the colors and the rendering. For when it was drawn, it was pretty cool. It's kind of cool right now even. No date info again, it's definitely not 2009. Although maybe, 8 years ago. Sounds about right actually, right? It's not that old. Fancy. Kept putting my logo everywhere. It was so important that my masterpieces are signed. There's a lot of newer stuff in here. Anyway, you get the point. I actually have this idea in my head for the last couple of weeks that I really want to do a series of overpaints of my own older artwork. I think that would be pretty interesting. Not necessarily this old, because it's not gonna be very different from the regular overpaint that you guys send, but of actually some of my newer stuff like this maybe. There's so much work put into it, but not that much of knowledge of how to do it right. I mean, it's gonna be pretty hard to overpaint this level of detail. It's insane, literally. But who knows? Maybe it would actually work out better if I just make a proper brushwork and everything. Oh, this one, the second. Actually a pretty cool piece with a cool backstory. I think I wrote it on DeviantArt, so you can check out the link for this to read if you want to. And also we made an adaptation of it when I was having my kind of like summer job in one recording studio kind of thing. So you can check it out right here. It was pretty cool, but much harder than something I could pull off properly. And the footage was filmed not very correctly, so it was hard to work with that, but whatever, it still was really cool. Man, if only I could tell myself how to render things better back then, because oh my god, so much work put into these tiny details with super sharp silhouettes and everything that are like the silhouettes themselves are too flat. Even when you think about an object as a three-dimensional, it's still gonna look wrong if you work with the edge two-dimensionally. And that's like the biggest problem, and so much work with these silhouettes. Like the wrong brushwork is a huge time killer. You're gonna waste so much time and energy instead of actually putting it into something that would make the painting look better. Really, the main problem of getting better with painting is always the proper distribution of your attention and effort. It's so hard to figure out where you should really put your effort into. Oh boy, should probably censor this one to keep the monetization. So yeah, this is pretty much the newer stuff that I did right before I started doing this channel. So this is like 2014 probably. Still could have done it much better right now. Where are the values on this knee? You can actually find most of this newer artwork on my DeviantArt page. I started digital painting with you and I thank you so much for all your videos. Thank you. I have really big problem with light and shadow. I see a lot of artists, someone use saturated shadow or light and some use desaturated one. Which one is true? Or should we just change value in shadow and light and not touch saturation at all? Check out this tutorial. I literally made the tutorial answering this question about how to figure out what the shadow color should be. All the types that you mentioned are possible, it's just about when and where. In most cases it's really not that important even, because colors are a very secondary thing. Much more important is to pay attention on the shape of the shadow and not that much of the color. Hey, wait a minute, are you Russian? No. Cats or dogs? Dogs. Forests or city? City. Isolation or population? Population outside of my house and isolation inside of it. Favorite movie genre? Horror. And your favorite movie of it? 28 Days Later. Why that movie? It's impressively devastating and very original, which is quite unusual for this genre. All the horror movies are the same usually. Summer or winter? Summer. I could keep going, but it's long enough. Long enough. What language do you think in when you're drawing? I think I only think with the Russian words when I talk to someone or just talk to someone in Russian. I will just keep thinking in that language, but mostly I think in English because all the interfaces, all the websites and my phone and everything is in English, which is not exactly usual for a Ukrainian. Like all the news are in English, so most of the times I read and think in English. Never actually thought about that. How did you become so good at painting? A lot of my skill actually comes from 3D. The whole lighting theory, how exactly it works, how the shadow falls, how lights blend together, how details distribute on a surface, all that stuff you can really figure out when you play around with 3D a lot. Placing light sources in different areas, set up materials differently with the reflections or not, with the high roughness or low, you really start to see the tiny subtle differences between different nuances of materials and lights. And that's when I developed my theory of how to create super complex lighting and textures by combining a huge amount of layers in a very complex structure. And that's how I used to paint in the beginning of this channel. If you check out the very first 10-15 episodes, I constantly have like a special structure with folders of all the layers. So there was a huge theory on how to do it, and right now I just do it all in one layer. All the layers are in my head now. So that's how basically the whole thing developed throughout the years. Did you go to a creative school? Creative school? That sounds like an awesome waste of time. No, I never went to schools like that. I never went to any art school. Are you taught by the internet? One might say that. By books? I don't read books. I'm not that good anyway, for that matter. Like, I'm not Ron Gia or something, who is my spiritual animal. Do you know you can get PaintStorm Studio for the iPad? It's almost exactly the same as the desktop version. Yeah, it's actually identical in everything to the desktop version, which is awesome, but it lags so hard that it's horrible. Like, it's not usable at all. It's extremely slow working on iPad. I have to ask again, will you ever do more ZBrush? I'd love to see you do some ZBrush stuff again. I would love to do it as well, like literally could do it tomorrow. The only thing I need is $800 to buy the license. Buy the merch! Okay, I guess this is it. There's so much more questions and I just feel like they're all very interesting to answer, but this is gonna take forever if I do. So if you guys didn't get your question answered, just repeat it again under this video and ask more new ones if you want to. I'll try to do the next episode a bit sooner, again, if you guys want to, I don't know. But yeah, this is it. Hope you guys enjoyed watching my old paintings for 10 minutes. And I thank you for watching if you did. I guess you did if you're here. Leave a like and subscribe. Tell a friend. It's 2 AM, so I can't come up with a single random advice. Do whatever you want. And I will see you in the next one. Bye. What the hell? I forgot about you. Hello, you wanna be on a t-shirt?